And we're back here on The Reckoning on the Real Talk Radio Network, and we are going to jump right into it. We've got Dr. Bob Onder on the phone with us right now, a candidate for Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. Dr. Onder, how are you doing today?
Ryan, it's great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm happy to have you. And yet we just talked last week and got a good little rundown on how things are going. But you've had some pretty big news this week, and I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to come on and share that. What's happened this week? It's nothing that big, right?
Well, nothing that big other than that yesterday morning I got a call from President Donald Trump's team letting me know that I received the president's endorsement. So I'll tell you, Ryan, I am deeply honored. I've been with Donald Trump a long time. I was a 2016 delegate and then a 2020 alternate. Went up to Iowa for the president as a surrogate in January. But it's still an honor and a privilege to be endorsed by President Trump.
Well, that is big news. That's not just big news. That's bigly news. Absolutely bigly news.
Well, as the president would say, it's huge.
Huge.
His statement is, of course, all over social media now, but he praised me as an incredible voice for MAGA and for the great people of Missouri. And he said that I'd work tirelessly with him to stop inflation, secure the border, grow the economy, support our military, protect our Second Amendment, and restore American energy dominance. And, Ryan, indeed, I do intend to do those things with Donald Trump come January of 2025.
Absolutely. These are big things, and we need people who have a history. And that's where I found it funny. I saw an ad this week. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I'm not sure who this group is. This Conservatives for American Excellence or something like that, some PAC. There's an ad running with a lot of information about how you have and of course there's no documentation that I've been able to see whatsoever, but how you've been very anti-Trump in the past. And I thought, I've followed this guy on social media for a long time. I have seen nothing if not pro-Trump 2016, right. 2020, 2024. What in the world are you seeing any reaction from this? Because to me, this is one of the dumbest things I've seen to try to defend.
It's got to be one of the dumbest things ever. Well, you and your family, of course, have known me since 2006 when I ran for state representative. And, of course, I've been with Donald Trump since 2016. I went as a Trump delegate, and I have supported the president every step of the way. The statement from President Trump yesterday said that, quote, his opponent, my opponent, is weak on MAGA, and that's all that you need to know. And in fact, my opponent did not offer a word of support for the president until, get this, Ryan, last month. So through all of Donald Trump's campaign in 2016, through all his persecution through Adam Schiff and these bogus impeachments and the Russia collusion hoax, all the way to the present, all the lawfare being waged against President Trump. My opponent didn't say a single pro-Trump word on social media until just last month. So, it's pretty hypocritical and downright deceptive to all of a sudden say I'm some sort of a never Trumper. I've been with Donald Trump. I went to the convention for him in Cleveland in 2016, and I've been with him all the way.
Absolutely. I again, like you can say, I have a disagreement with this person. I think I do a better job. But to try to come in and do something as patently ridiculous as this, which obviously I don't know who's behind this PAC that's putting ads out. They're obviously picking a side in this. It's very interesting and easily disprovable. Yeah. I will say though, I noticed
it's actually an anti-Trump PAC. It's the same donors who supported Nikki Haley. So again, they have a right to support whoever they want. But in this case, look, it's my opponent's camp, and they're just flat out lying.
Oh well, absolutely. And to your point, I notice. Almost everyone running as a Republican this year had Trump flags all over the parade floats I saw. And I looked at a few of these and I thought, there's a lot of disingenuous behavior here because I've never seen, now that it's popular, you got a Trump flag. But I want to know who had them when it wasn't popular, who knew this was the right thing to do. And there are several of you, including you, I know we have seen over and over again in the camp of understanding this is our man that we got to support. This is the movement and the issues that are most important facing us right now. And there's a lot of folks who just now bought their Trump flags, to your point.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, if you don't take my word for it, if your listeners want to know, go to bobondermo.com, and you'll see prominently displayed a picture of Allison, my wife Allison, and me on the floor of the convention supporting Donald Trump in 2016. So a picture's worth 1,000 words. But no, really, I think you're right, Ryan. There are too many people in politics, and I think, including my opponent, who are probably more of the John Kasich or Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney brand than the Trump brand. Not very long ago, and but they wrap themselves in Trump now that he's our nominee and likely our next president, is going to be our next president. And I just want to be there with him as his ally in January to secure the borders, to get the economy going again, to get inflation down, to become energy independent again, or as Trump said, energy dominant, and shutter the Department of Education, end the wokeness and the indoctrination that is inflicted upon our children in this country today. So I am on Team Trump. I'm the America First Trump conservative candidate in this race, and that's why I'm just so honored and privileged to have the president's endorsement.
Well, and we're going to need, to your point, allies in the Congress, because we got a lot of Republicans right now, but we need more America First conservatives who understand the principles we're moving toward, what needs to be done, not just toting along with semi-Republican, semi-conservative lines. But let me ask you on that note, and you may not have had a chance to take a look. I know that the GOP platform draft has just come out. There's a lot of folks running to very different extremes, how this is wonderful, the best thing they've ever seen, how it's terrible and is missing planks about pro-life and marriage like it ought to have. I take a little bit more of a middle ground because I understand both of where we're coming from here on these needs, these sides where we are. But I wonder if you had any thoughts on that, if you had a chance to read it, as we have this opportunity as Republicans to define ourselves for the next 4 years, if you had seen anything there that struck a chord with you.
Yeah, Ryan, I think the Republican Party will be and has been for the last 50 years and will continue to be the pro-life party. I think the change in the platform, it mostly has to do with a reflection of the idea that in our federal system of government, most of the criminal laws, police power resides in the states. And we for years have wanted Roe v. Wade to be overturned and the power to regulate abortion returned to the states. The Dobbs decision did that. So I think that's what the platform reflects. But I'll tell you, we will always be the pro-life party because, look, I fought hard to defund Medicaid, Planned Parenthood, and our Medicaid program in the state of Missouri. It has to be very clear in federal law. No taxpayer should be forced to subsidize not just abortion, but America's #1 abortion provider, Planned Parenthood. No taxpayer should be forced to fund abortion abroad in UN and other family planning programs abroad. Really, we need to properly regulate dangerous drugs, including those for abortion. So there will be many pro-life, fights to be had. But yeah, I think the overall, this is a phenomenal platform. And not only does it stand for securing the borders, getting our economy going, becoming energy independent, but also ending the weaponization of the American government against political opponents, cutting government dollars to CRT and woke and gender ideology. So, it will be a whole new day when Donald Trump comes to office in January with MAGA, American First conservatives like myself, to make America great again, to really turn this country around, because heaven knows we're on the wrong path right now under Joe Biden and the Democrats.
Absolutely, we are. Let me ask you one final question, just if you have any thoughts. Obviously, this is a touch outside your purview, as you would be in the federal level, legislating,
sure,
creating ideas and passing them. But I know that one of the big issues has been, as we face this battle, both at the federal level, at the state level, between the America First conservatives and an establishment, a swamp that is more interested in self-preservation than preservation of our republic. I know that for a lot of Missourians, the kerfuffle, for lack of a better word, that's come up over our delegate slate that was supposed to head to the RNC, there's been a lot of folks who are asking for a cleanup of our state party system. Obviously, a lot of our state candidates have chimed in, but I wondered if you've kept your finger to the pulse of this, if you had any thoughts on that, or if this is something that's a little outside your purview and you were looking to see what's going to happen, because it seems there was a great injustice done to the process of our state convention, and then coming into the RNC, what happened through some very swamp-style moves in the state party. Wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Ryan. The convention this year was kind of a mess. It started with a long convoluted process of getting delegates credentialed, but ultimately it did result in the election of a slate. But in law, it's a principle of law that whenever you have a lack of clarity in the law, you try to legislate the intent of the legislators in question. In this case, it's very clear that there was one slate that, even though the process wasn't perfect, there was one slate that was elected, and I think the slate that goes to the convention should look as much like that slate as possible.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. There was great intent there, and I know a lot of our folks are very upset about it. So there's been a big piling on.
The vote. The vote, Ryan, as you know, wasn't close. There were two slates, and the one slate won, and the delegate credentialing process was messy. But at the end of the day, I think everyone knew who they were voting for, what slate they were voting for. So I think the slate that that actually gets to go to the convention to make Donald Trump our presidential nominee should look a lot like that slate, and that's what the state party should do.
Yeah, well, absolutely, I appreciate that. We appreciate your time too. I know you had a hard deadline that you're running from thing to thing, but congratulations on the endorsement from President Trump, and congratulations on the work that you guys are doing running around the 3rd District. We appreciate your voice for freedom and what you're doing in this race. We wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. Well, there you go. I mean, we have from top to bottom, I just hit on it from the very beginning here of the program, folks. We've got Republican senators, Republican House members who are not doing their jobs. They're not showing up. We're not showing a united front to stand where it is needed, absolutely needed to have a quorum in the process or to have every vote possible there to stop what's happening. We are not at a position of leadership of giant majorities where we can afford to not have at all times everyone at the wall, everyone at the front of the battle, at the ramparts. We're going to wax a little eloquent and historical here, but it's time to have every single one of them there. We need to have people who understand the principles of liberty that are at stake. And those are the candidates that we rally around. Those are the people that we have to send as allies to President Trump. And Bob Onder certainly stood for that in Missouri for a long time. I have no doubt that he would do the same given the chance for the 3rd District. And we look forward to talking to anyone in that race as well. The invitation is open because we've got good choices ahead of us to make, and we have to send good people. Come on back. We'll do a lot more politics and a lot more Missouri here on the other side of the break. You're on The Reckoning.
Try to